Hey everybody, welcome to Girls That Truck. This is a new channel that I just started. I am a fleet owner. I work out of the state of Florida, so I'm a Florida-based carrier. I have 3 of my own tractors, and then the rest of my fleet is made up of owner-operators. We work dry vans and reefer units, so we haul a lot of food products, produce, frozen goods. We do a lot of stuff with Aldi's and Kroger's and Target's and Sam's. So we are a lot in the fresh food market. What I want to do today is talk about freight coming in and out of the state of Florida. So we like I said, we strictly work in the freight in the spot market. So we do not have any contracts directly with any shippers. There are a couple of brokers that we have that we do consistent freight for, but again, they are broker based. They are not I don't have any contracts with any shippers or anything like that. So I'm strictly working in the spot market. So my rates fluctuate up and down. And then with the market being the way that it is, you know, we just try to get the most money that we can get. Now, I know a lot of people will say, you know, I'm doing business all wrong. I should be doing it this way. I should be doing it that way. And if that works for your business, then that's great. What I do here works for me. We've managed to stay open during this dumpster fire of a year that we've had. Last year wasn't good either. You know, things really started to take a really bad turn for the worse during the second quarter of 2022, and they've just continued on and on and on. And honestly, it feels like it's just never going to end. I'm really hoping and looking forward to 2024. I know the latter part of the year is supposed to be supposedly when things will start turning around for the trucking industry. People always talk about the 4 cycles and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is just talk about what my company does as a Florida-based carrier, what kind of rates we get going in and out of Florida, and how we've just really survived this market. Like I said, we mostly work in the reefer unit space. I do have one guy that does dry van, so I'll go ahead and talk about his couple of loads first. He has 1 load going out and 1 load coming back in. These are just loads that we've done over the last couple of weeks. Like I said, just leaving and coming back to the state of Florida. So he left the state of Florida and headed up to Minnesota. He went a total of 1,510 miles, and that load averaged him $1.45 a mile. For dry vans, we try to stick around $1.50 to $1.50 to $2 a mile if we're lucky for a dry van to get out of the state of Florida. I know those are, you know, people are going to give me a hard time about that price, and that's fine. If that doesn't work for you and the market average just doesn't work for you, then don't run. But this is what it is. These are where the rates are at. Unless you have some kind of contract freight or, you know somebody, this is kind of the market average, and I can't do anything about it. So it's either run your truck or don't. So we run the trucks. The guys want to work, and that's what we do. So that load averaged $1.45 a mile. Now coming back from Minnesota is where he did a little bit better. He came from Minnesota back into the state of Florida. That load was 1,828 miles. And he made $2.78 a mile on that one. So the driver just went to Minnesota, came straight back, and went out for $1.45 and came back in for $2.78 a mile. Not bad. You know, we want to be around the $3 range coming back into the state because we lose so much money leaving. So that's my dry van guide. The rest of the people I'm going to talk about are all going to be reefers. The temperatures on these loads are going to vary. I didn't go that much into detail. What I really just want to talk about is the average per mile that you're going to get leaving the state. Most of these loads, almost all of them are going to be fresh loads leaving. Once we get out and about is when we start doing some frozen loads. Very rarely do we take any frozen loads out of the state of Florida for whatever reason. Usually we're hauling produce or garlic or orange juice when we're leaving here. So I'm going to start with loads leaving the state of Florida, and then I'll talk about our averages coming back into the state of Florida. So the first one is leaving the state of Florida. This load had 2 drops on it, one in Pennsylvania and then the second drop in Ohio. This load was a total of 1,193 miles, and the driver on that one averaged $2.05 a mile. So again, we try to shoot to be around $2 a mile, especially in our reefer units leaving the state. It's, it gives us a good average, it gives us a good starting point, and it's a realistic goal to leave the state at $2 a mile. We would love to be at a little higher. Sometimes we're at a little lower, but it's, there's not always a lot of stuff going out of the state of Florida. The next one that I'm going to talk about leaving the state of Florida, this one left Florida, went to Baton Rouge, and also Hammond, Louisiana. Again, this is a 2-drop for a total of 772 miles, and it paid the driver $1.42 a mile. Another one we did was a Florida to Thomasville, Georgia, which is just on the other side of the border in Georgia. It was 281 miles, and that one paid $1.95 a mile. The next load I'm going to talk about is this is a load that we do consistently, the one that I was talking about that we have multiple times a week. It is through a broker, so it is not dedicated for us from the shipper, but it is something that we do all the time. This one left Florida and it goes to Cottonwood, Alabama. It's 385 miles, and we get $2.75 a mile on that one. So that's always nice for our guys to leave. We get it a couple times a week. I do only have... I have three drivers and then 10 owner operators. So with them coming and going so much, this run usually is enough to spread out over the drivers. So a lot of them get this, and it makes their paycheck nice leaving the state, which they don't always get. Another one we did is from Florida. This one had 2 drops on it as well. It went from Abingdon, Virginia, and then to Salone, Ohio. The miles on that one was 1,405, which made the load $1.85 a mile. Thank you. Another thing we do sometimes is when our drivers are here and they have doctor's appointments, or they come home for their kids' plays or the holidays or whatever it might be, is we get our hands on some local runs. This is a Florida to Florida run. It's a total of 120 miles, and we get $5 a mile on those runs, roughly. Sometimes they average anywhere from $4 to $5 a mile on those runs. I have a couple of guys who did those. That's kind of it for leaving the state. So like I said, we try to average about $2 a mile leaving the state. Now coming back in, we try to get $3 a mile is what we usually shoot for. Hopefully we get more, $3.50 to $4 a mile. 4 is really pushing it. So we try to average out at that $3 a mile, hopefully a little bit more. There's a couple of loads that we brought back in. One of my drivers came from Wisconsin to Florida. That's a total of 1,493 miles. He made $2.94 on that run. Another one that we did was in North Carolina to Florida. That was a total of 664 miles, and we got $3.16 a mile on that one. Another driver brought a load from Tennessee to Florida. It was 845 miles, and he got $3.07 on that one. Another driver brought a load from Georgia down to Florida for a total of 512 miles, and he made $3.12 a mile. One of my other guys brought a load down from Michigan. He had 1 drop in Kentucky and then a 2nd drop in Florida. That load was a total of 1,149 miles, and he made $3.48 a mile on that one. So as you can see and hear, and and these are all real numbers. These are all things that I billed out last week and the week before, what my drivers were paid for. These are, this is the truth. This is where my company is at. This is what we're doing. And that's what I want to do with this, is I want to shed light on the transportation industry and find out what everybody's doing, and hear back from people and see what's happening. So I just want you guys to know what we're doing down here as a Florida-based carrier. I would love to hear, your insights, what you guys think. And then, like I told you, we do drive-in and reefer. So we are not in the flatbed. I don't do any hot shots, nothing like that. So we just try to make it happen. We're hopeful that the upcoming year is going to be a little bit better. So just let us know what you think. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.